Hi everyone, today is May 9th, 2020, and this is the Duel Assessment, your podcast for Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. My name is Green Ranger. This week, we have some new things going on, namely the DD Castle Emergence. Those two cards that they give us, they're not inconsequential. They're useful for different chaos strategies, and we do see some meta decks like the Thunder Dragons, for example, being an example of a chaos deck. Various decks running Lightsworn engines. They're useful cards for that regard. We'll talk about those two cards. We'll also talk about the ranked rewards for May 2020. There's two new cards there. And also finish up Truth Universe. We didn't get to the Double D archetype or the Cybers. We'll talk about both of those. All the cards from both of those archetypes from the last box. And Doug Dimmaduel's back. He has Malefics, another archetype that was discussed last week from Truth Universe, and he focuses on a specific aspect of it, not all the monsters in one deck, but specific ones, focusing on Truth Dragon, the 5,000 attacker. So my week in Duel World, I've actually gotten to 100 ranked wins by now, which is strange because usually it takes me till the end of the month to get there, and I think I'm really trying to hit King of Games now. I hit Legend easily within the first few days with No Mortal Can Resist Vampires, and that just got me through Platinum. And in Legend, I didn't really play the deck at all, but I've played 3 different decks, gotten to Legend 3, probably the highest, and I'm back at Legend 1. It's been tough going, but different decks I'm playing. Chaos Lightsworn, that was a restart build. One Levianeer, one Judgment Dragon, that's all I've got. And then just all the other, light and dark Lightsworn monsters. Like Eclipse Wyverns, Dark Flare Dragons, different things like that. And 2 versions of Synchro Toolbox. The regular version of Synchro Toolbox is the Dark Verger one, where you focus on kind of like an OTK with Brionic and Synchro Boost, I think it's called. The one where you banish a guy and boost your monster. That lets your Synchro monsters hit over 4,000. And then there's this new version of Synchro Toolbox that I've played. And this version, some versions run it with a field spell called Gates of Dark World, and it works with the Resonators and Wild King Wandering King Wildwind, Psychic Wheel Dealer, Psychic Tracker. I'm playing the version without that field spell, and it also revolves around a card called Phantom King Hydred, which works as a tuner/non-tuner. So I've actually had really bad success with that deck, and yeah, I don't know what to play really. I've also played Fortune Ladies. That's like 4 different decks I've played in Legend, and probably the best one I've played is the Chaos Lightsworn. That one definitely has the most power of all the decks I've played, but still trying to find a deck that I'm comfortable with. I'm comfortable with Fortune Lady, but power level is just not the same as the other, as Chaos Lightsworn, for example, but trying to do my best in this season for some reason. But Esports, we have 3 tournaments to talk about. First one's a special one, J Rabian Cup number 6. J Rabian's really one of the original Duel Links creators. As you can tell, this is Cup number 6. He was gone for a while, so now it's back. This is Cup number 6. First place, Sakram, No Mortal Can Resist Ritual Beasts. Ritual Beasts, I mean, I don't know how many plays they make a turn. You could count. They make like 20 plays a turn. Like, it's not even a joke, and it's pretty much a one-turn kill thing. I personally would not be able to play a deck like this. I'd probably run out of time. But this is a No Mortal Can Resist build. 2 copies of Herald of the Abyss, a card I like very much. Helps reduce your life points. 4 No Mortal Can Resist, 1 activation is 1,500. Doesn't target, doesn't destroy, just sends it to the graveyard. Very good. And a copy of Needle Sealing, which is pretty much like a DD tech, a double D tech thing. So otherwise, it's a box that you could just get straight out of a Spirit of the Beast. You just need those windows. That's pretty much the most expensive card here. Cannon Hawks with an SR as well. Otherwise, a pretty cheap deck. This is a type of deck that you would buy like when they have a UR sale in the box because there's just 3 of them in the mini box. So you increase your chances of getting the 3 copies of the UR in the mini box pretty high. Second place, Irving with Peak Performance Blackwings. Peak Performance has come into play with different decks. And this is, you could tell because they're playing regular Kaiba and not Beatdown. There's some interplay with Ancient Fairy Dragon and Ancient Pixie Dragon. Ancient Pixie Dragon can help you tutor the field spell, which is nice. And because you already start off with Peak Performance, it helps you tutor the spell Necro Valley, which is already in the deck. So that could help lock out the graveyard when you're not playing No Mortal Can Resist. That's kind of the hedge you make. You put in Necro Valley to counter all those graveyard things. Next, also running Ballista Squad, 2 copies of that card. It's a card that's starting to get splashed around everywhere, and I started buying Fortress of Gears, primarily for Phantom King Hydride, but I also want a Ballista Squad now. It seems a pretty good card. Top 4, Anthox, Destiny Draw, Element Saber Invoked. Typical deck here. It's like a fat deck with all those trap cards, and this also runs Ballista Squad. It makes a lot of sense for Element Sabers to run Ballista Squad because they can just invoke their monster in the graveyard, which works just fine. And top 4, Toby, Level, Og, Shiranui. Very typical deck. 3 copies of Lancia, 2 Gozukis, 2 Solitaire, 3 Squire, 2 Spectral Swords, 2 Cosmic, 3 Ballista Squads, 3 Fiendish Chains. It's pretty much the top 2 trap cards for this deck, Ballista Squad and Fiendish Chain. Artifact Lancia is a card you see a ton in Legend ranks now even. You can tell when they're pausing during your turn. That's when you tell there's a Artifact Lancia in hand. Battle Phase 55. This signals the rise of hero decks. There's same guy with hero deck winning first place in the next 2 tournaments. Luxon Grit hero deck. So this is the new version of heroes. It doesn't run malicious, and Hey Trunade seems to be a core card in the deck. It's not a 1-turn kill thing, obviously, and also the addition of Forbidden Chalice has helped certain monsters hit when they're not supposed to hit, like Vision Hero Trinity or Anki. They just do extra things. In this deck, just to tell you, 3 Ferris, 3 Stratus, 1 Decider, 2 Increase, 1 Celestial, 2 Vion, 1 Econ, 1 Hey Trunade, 2 Forbidden Chalice, 3 Mass Change, 1 Polymerization. Second place, Small Cheese, Transcendent Crystals, Crystron Thunder Dragons. This is a whole new deck. Thunder Dragons usually rely on the Lightsworn engine, some Raidens, and some Charge of the Lightsworn to get things in the graveyard. This one uses Crystons, and it's even more than that. It's like half and half. The Crystron monsters, there's Sulfineer, 2 Smyger, 3 Fistvern, 3 Crystri, 2 Quans, 2 Crystron Impacts, so it's a pretty split deck. And Gas Dragon Levianeer is a card that could get clunky because it just needs those lights and darks in the graveyard, and there's a lot of water monsters with the Crystons. But this deck seemed to do just fine. So yeah, you could totally surprise your opponent by running Crystons with Thunder Dragons. Top 4, Zuccarito. No Mortal Can Resist Dark Magician. Yeah, you see this deck in the ladder way too much, so it's not much of a surprise. World Legacy Clash is a bit of a surprise. 2 copies of that card as a semi-limit. Pretty dangerous card. It helps you stop an attack and also reduce your enemy's life points. Reduce their attack points so that they could lose life points. Top 4, Eduardo, 1992, Master of Rites Dark Magician. Different build here, focusing on Magician of Chaos and Advanced Ritual Art. It's more of a card advantage deck because they have to have cards in hand to activate the effect of Magician of Chaos. But the deck has a lot of hand tricks in the side deck. 2 Artifact Lanceas, 3 Sphere Karibos. Kind of, I guess you could swap out Cosmic Cyclone maybe. Yeah, Master of Rites. No, wait, you need Master of Rites. You need to lose life points for Master of Rites. I don't know what you would swap out, but maybe Magician of Dark Illusion or something. I don't know. Finally, Duel Links Meta Weekly number 123. Luxon, first place, Great Hero. Same exact deck. This deck is not cheap. It's 3 URs from Fortress of Gears and 3 Selection Box URs, so it's really hard to play right now. If you're trying to shoot for this build, trying to get those 3 Stratus is really difficult if you want to spend a lot of money in it. Second place is PDS Poop Deck Seaman. No Mortal Can Resist. Heroes, this is kind of the classic build of it. You have your 2 Militias in here. There's no Plasma though, usually. They did run Plasma. 22 card deck. Shows you how well this deck thins and searches. Hatrunate's still staple. Treacherous Trap Holes in this deck as well. 3 Cosmic Cyclone, that kind of seals it. 3 Cosmics and a Hatrunate. You're pretty much good for your 1-turn kill. Treacherous Trap Hole there as well. Actually a very good combination for any deck that really wants a 1-turn kill. 3 Cosmics, 1 Hatrunate, 1 Treacherous. And you're running No Mortal Can Resist. That's perfect. Lockdown setup. I might try that for my Synchro Toolbox decks, actually. It's not a bad call. Top 4, Gerchamp, Level, Og, Shiranui. Same deck. If you got your good trap cards here, Ballista Squad, Venus Chain, Floodgate, Sodium Texan, Void Trap Hole, which is a card that's kind of meta now against any of those monsters for 2000 attack. And top 4, Bush D, God King, Baggy Sleeves, Thunder Dragons, classic Thunder Dragon deck here, Chaos Dragon Levineer, Dragon Hawk, Dragon Dark, Plague Spreader, Glow Bulb, those are pretty common, 2 Spheres, Dragon Duo, Dragon Roar, Raiden, Gold Sarcophagus, 3 Charges, 2 Econ. Alright. So, tier list update from Duel Links Meta. Cristrons have moved up into tier 1. Talk about the Sea Stealth Attack deck, the water deck. We didn't see that one recently, but in the top 4, but we did see it 2 weeks ago, I think. That has bumped it up to tier 1 with Shiranui. Tier 2, we have Dark Magician, Element Saber. Masked Heroes have risen up to tier 2, and Thunder Dragons have moved down to tier 2 from tier 1. The Rise of Heroes, you definitely see that on the ladder as well. Hatrunate's been a staple, and also using that Chalice. Tier 3, Black Wings and Cyber Dragons, no movement there. High Potential Blue Eyes are back on the list. And triple Ds, double Ds, whatever you want to call them, are here as well in the high potential. I feel like the triple D, double D deck, they're not showing up in the tournaments a ton, but they're going to be like tier 3 probably. It could be even higher, I don't know, if they nerf something. Alright, let's talk about the new cards from this event. DD Castle Emergence. And This event is notable for is, besides the 2 new cards, this is the return of a DD event, and there are wave duels. This is a new thing where it's like a gauntlet match. You face 3 NPC duels. You have the same number of life points and cards. So obviously, when you're playing these decks, don't play a mill deck. If you're playing Light Swords, you're probably going to deck out if you're playing 3 guys in a row. So that is a must. Also, don't reduce your life points too much, obviously. So don't really auto-duel deck with a ton of enemy controllers. Sometimes the auto-duel just uses it on your own cards, which is stupid. I found the first round of DD Castle, the coins were kind of impossible to get. But Note that you should replay the duels so you could max out your coins. So just keep grinding out the events. And then you'll also run into challenge duels and also castle guards, I believe they call them. So they just come up every so often. So you get some free duels in. I guess one complaint is you don't get enough coins. You get like 40, less than 40 in the first round. Now, second round, it's like 41, 42, 43. So getting more and more coins. You do face the same characters over and over again, which is kind of stupid. They just put them in different orders. Um, yeah, I'm fine with an event like this. And yeah, it's a whole new way of dueling, and it's auto duel, which is cool. So yeah, two new cards in this lottery, and they're both chaos. Called chaos. One's chaos, one isn't. Gold Wu Lord of Dark World, level 5, Dark Fiend, 2300 attacks, 1400 defense. If this card is discarded to the graveyard by card effect, if it was discarded from your hand to your graveyard by an opponent's card effect, you can target up to 2 cards your opponent controls. Special summon this card from the graveyard, then destroy those targets if any. So all the Dark World cards have really weird wording. And just to parse it out, if this card's discarded to the graveyard by card effect, in any way, you're going to special summon this card. Now, if it was tossed by your opponent's card effect, let's say Erebus, Monarch of Dark World, discards from your hand, White Magical Hat hits you, you discard this card. You're going to bring it back from the graveyard and then hit 2 cards your opponent controls. So, basically, that's never going to happen. Like, no one's really... Monarchs aren't a meta deck. That's really the main card I could think of that punches a card out of your hand. There's another one in the meta, actually. I'm forgetting it. I don't have the card, so I don't know. But that's rarely going to happen. So you're probably not going to count on this as being a Chaos Dragon Levianeer hitting 2 cards. But what this is a free special summon from the graveyard. The most similar card to this is Felice Lightsworn Archer. That is a card that you discard, and then it comes straight out of the graveyard. It is a level 4 tuner with 1100 attack. Also has a control ability where you could sacrifice that card to destroy an enemy monster. This one's 2300, level 5 though. Doesn't come with that removal ability. It can hit kind of okay. And the goal of this card obviously is to get milled. You don't want to summon this in any way. And milled. And then you can make a level 9 synchro play with Raiden, because Raiden's a common card you would run in a Chaos deck. Level 7 with Plague Spreader, level 6 with Glow Up Bulb. Those are some pretty good synchro monsters in level 7, level 6. 9, you're thinking about Vermilion Dragon, obviously. So there is a chance that gold may make those decks. It might just be like a one of, but it depends how easily you could run a level 5. I know I think Thunder Dragons already have a level 5, so they don't need it. Monarchs have Prime Monarchs, that's a level 5. Certain decks may need a level 5, and that's where this card will come into play. I wouldn't expect it to be a main Chaos card since its ability is just to come onto the board, and it's not even a synchro monster, so there is some setup involved to make this card useful, but just because it is a level 5 with decent attack, I think it has a chance of being like a one of in a Chaos deck. Next card actually is a Chaos card. Chaos Betrayer, level 6, Dark Fiend, 2000. If this is in your graveyard, you can banish a light and dark from your graveyard, except for Chaos Betrayer. Special summon this in defense, but banish it when it leaves the field. If this is special summoned, you can target 1 card in your opponent's graveyard and banish it. You can use each effect once per turn. This is, it fits the bill. It needs to get milled. This is obviously a card you don't want to summon as a level 6 2000. That's pretty bad. Same summoning requirements as Chaos Sorcerer and Dark Flare. You have to get rid of a light and dark from the graveyard. And with that, There's some synergy with the card Eclipse Wyvern. Eclipse Wyvern is a card, if it's sent to the graveyard, you can banish a dragon. And the dragon's typically Chaos Dragon Levianeer or Judgment Dragon. Then you could just take out a light and a dark to get Chaos Betrayer. And if you take out Chaos Wyvern, you're going to add that dragon back to your hand. There's a bit of synergy with that card. The main reason why you would play this card, obviously, is because of the meta ability. Banishing an opponent graveyard card. Great ability in the meta. Yeah, it really hits any deck nowadays. That's why No Mortal Can Resist is such a big meta skill. We see various cards be meta decks. Armages aren't really meta, but they're good enough for King of Games. And Marjoram is a card that hits cards in the graveyard every turn. This one only hits one, which hedges it being kind of like a... Well, Marjoram has the same stats as this card. It's not like a weak body, but it's just good enough. It hits for half of the duels. That's something, I guess. And it just targets one card in the graveyard, so not a huge impact in terms of, let's say they have a full graveyard of light and dark monsters, you can't counter that. This could hit a Kiteroid, this could hit a Bacon Saver, it could swing the Courts of a Duel, this could hit a Blue Eyes card. Various cards can get hit. If you're playing against Samurai, super heavy Samurais, the Fist could be in the graveyard, so various cards this could counter. And also as a level 6, you could pair it with Glow Up Bulb, which is a common card in Chaos decks, so you make a level 7. So this card almost immediately has a fit in a Chaos deck. I might try it in my Lightsworn deck because I just got my first copy of Chaos Betrayer before I did this podcast. They give it away in floor 15. So this is going to be in my Chaos deck. It has a much higher chance of being in the deck than Gold Warlord of Dark World. Next topic is May ranked rewards. These are the two cards you can get from ranked rewards. First is the UR Armed Dragon Catapult Cannon. Light Machine Fusion, 10 stars, 3500 attack, 3000 defense. It's the fusion of VWXYZ Dragon Catapult Cannon and Armed Dragon level 7. Must be special summoned from your extra deck. During a duel, you special summoned above both cards. By banishing the above cards from your field or graveyard, you do not use polymerization. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effects with the same name as any banished card. Once per turn, during your opponent's turn. Quick effect, you can banish one card from your extra deck or deck face up, banish all cards your opponent controls and in the graveyard. So, as Princeton anime special here, you pretty much win the duel if you have this on the board. Unless they're playing like Malefics and they hit over this card. But during your opponent's turn, banish one card. No, wait, you could beat Malefics. Banish one card from your deck. Extra deck. Banish all cards your opponent controls and in the graveyard. Just blows them away. It's the end of the duel. Of course, the problem is getting this onto the board. VWXYZ Dragon Catapult Cannon. I believe this is a 5 union monster. Oh, it's a fusion card. There's a union with VW Tiger Catapult, and then a 3-card union with XYZ Dragon Cannon. You fuse them, contact fusion into this big-ass monster. Now, Armed Dragon level 7 is a monster that leveled up twice. So, you have your little Armed Dragon turn to level 5, level 7. Then you contact fuse them into this guy. So, we talk about impossible summoning requirements every so often. There's this God card, super strong, and you get it out. This is probably the hardest summoning requirement ever, like in Duel Links. So, sure, give this card to us, but don't expect to win any duels with it unless you're playing super low level players who just started the game or something, or auto duel. It might be a fun auto duel, not an auto duel, like a fun PVE thing. Yeah, we got this card. The next card is the SR reward, and they really dug deep for this one because it's not a TCG OCG card at all. It only appears in 5D's Tag Force, a game from 10 years ago. Hidden Passage, continuous spell. All level 2 or lower spellcasters you control with attack lower than the face-up monster your opponent controls with the lowest attack can attack your opponent directly. So basically, this is a direct attack card with level 2 spellcasters. And your opponent has to have a face-up monster, from what I could tell, for this to work. So you're going to have to do some kind of stall burn thing. In Duel Links, Defender of Nephis is the best monster. 1400 attack level 2. The best monster is probably Ebon Magician Koran, who is more known for being a card art card with the Pickaroo. That's 1200, and then you could burn your opponent for 300 at the end of the turn. So if you could stall maybe like 2 or 3 turns, you could win the duel with Koran. Koran burns for 300 for each monster your opponent has, so it could be 300, 600, or 900. And you could fill your deck up with like Windstorm and Curse of Anubis and Draining Shield, all these cards to make it super annoying. And then you just hit with Ebon Magician Koran. Maybe like a Shadow Game or Parasite Infestation. You know, something super annoying. I think that's the only way you can make Hidden Passage work. Kind of reminds me of the Skystar Ray direct attack deck where they banished it every turn. So, yeah, Hidden Passage has some potential with Ebon Magician Koran. I do not want to face that deck. It is probably super annoying. We're going to get to 2 archetypes that were left over from the last discussion of the Box Truth Universe. And one of them is the frontrunner, if you will, of what is successful in the meta so far. And that is the double D, triple D, whatever you want to call it, archetype. So we're going to talk about those as well as the Cybers cards, which predictably have gone nowhere. Talk about the Ds. Just in case, if you have too many gems, gems expire after a month. Like the excess gems, which sucks because I had to buy some other box. I think I bought Fortress of Gears and then also the coin flip box, Gunfire, whatever you call it, box. But in case you're torn on whether the double D archetype is good, here are those cards. We talked about the the URs and SRs. So it's a Swirl Slime, the Flame King Genghis, things like that. And then there are 2 of their continuous spells are SRs as well as the Synchro Monsters. So a bunch of them, if you're buying through this set, you are trying to play that archetype. Are any of the R's and N's good? Yes, some of them are core cards. Triple D Gus King Alexander is a level 7 Synchro. How much attack does this guy have? 2500, 2000. Requires a double D tuner and non-tuner. If another double D monster is normal or special summoned to your field while you control his face-up card, target a level 4 or lower double D monster in your graveyard, special summon it. You can use this effect once per turn. So this is kind of like there's no point of this card if you have a full playset, because the goal of this card is just to ramp up into 10 to get high Gust King Alexander. Gust High King Alexander. But they could do it pretty much with Night Howl and Pendragon Race. So 3+7 right there. This is kind of like a budget thing if you don't have that. Or if you're trying to make some other type of monster, like a level 9, like a 7+2 or something, it's something tricky, but typically if you have a full playset, you're not going to be running this card. Next card is Triple D Oracle King d'Arc. It's a fusion monster, level 7. 2 double D monsters, 2800 attack, 2000 defense. Any effect that would inflict damage to you makes you gain that life points instead. So the the whole thing with their continuous cards is that they lose 1,000 or in some cases 2,000 life points per turn. And that's unsustainable because you're going to lose a duel. So that pretty much makes this card a must-have. And more so, it's just 2,800 attack, which is not 3,000, which makes it a little on the outside looking in against Blue Eyes, but it does beat Dark Magician, so 2,800 attack. It helps pay for basically, your costs that you do, your upkeep for your double D continuous card. So this is a core card in that extra deck. It's pretty easy to make 2 monsters. You could use the Swirl Slime, and 2 for 2,800 is pretty good. Next card is Triple D Wave Oblivion King Caesar Ragnarok. It's a whole mouthful. Level 10, Fiend Fusion, 2 Triple D monsters, 3,200 attack, 3,000 defense. Once per turn, when an attack is declared involving this card, you can target one other Double D or Dark Contract card you control, return it to the hand. If you do equip one face-up monster your opponent controls this card, except a battling monster. This card gains attack equal to the combined original attack of the monsters equipped to it by its effect. This one's it reminds me of Vampire Vamp in that it equips, it's kind of like a boss, equips it, pretty much destroys it there, and then gains its attack to be huge. This could be like the boss monster of the deck, but then at the same time, it's pretty hard to make because it requires the fusion of 2 Triple Ds. Gus King Alexander, you pretty much have that effect already because this card you don't have to fuse them, and then it becomes a 6,000 attack beater. This guy is pretty much that. If you steal like a Blue Eyes or 6,000 attack beater, but then it's just that requirement of the 2 Triple D monsters, which makes this kind of unplayable, I think. Originally looking at it, this seemed like the card, right? This seems like this is the boss monster, but it seems the way that they play, it's very hard to make that 2 Triple D fusion requirement, especially since they're fusing with the slime. The slime is a double D, which makes it you need a Dark Contract with Swamp King. And then you'll need the 2 Triple D, so that's why it's a little clunky. It's the last setup, but it is a boss monster if you do feel like running 1, but they're kind of tight with their extra deck. This one's a very core card here. Triple D Dragon Bane King Beowulf. Level 8 Fiend Fusion. Requires a Triple D and a Double D fusion. 3,000 attack, 2,500 defense. If a Double D monster you control attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing. Once per turn, during your standby phase, you can destroy all cards in spell and trap zones. Yeah, the main way this whole archetype hits is through piercing. This card makes it so. It's a whole group pierce. Normally that's not a great thing. Like, it's not the best ability. It's a good ability. It's not the reason you play a card. But here it's a lot easier to do with that fusion of the Triple D and then the Double D. Usually they use Pendragon. Pendragon's already an available Triple D. And then you have your Swirl Slime. So that's 2 cards in your hand that you can just use to fuse this guy. That's what separates it from the Ragnarok. Ragnarok requires the Triple D. You need your Dark Contract with Swamp King. So this makes the whole group hit for piercing, especially with Alexander, 6,000 attack piercing. And your King the Arc, it's a lot of big beaters. They all have piercing, your opponent's pretty much done. And the whole tactic, the swarm tactic that they use has made you wonder whether Drowning Mirror Force or Wall of D are going to come back. Needle Sealing, as we see sometimes now. So they're all counters against this Pierce attack. Mentioned Pendragon a few times. This is a bit of a weird card, but it's a core card. Triple D Dragon King Pendragon, level 7, 2,600, 2,400. If this is in your hand, you contribute a dragon and a fiend from your hand. And their side of field, special summon it. Once per turn, you can discard it. Gains 500 attack. Then you can destroy a spell or trap on the field. This attack increase lasts until the end of the turn. So this card normally has no board presence. It's not going to be summoned with a dragon and a fiend. And the reason because all of the double D and triple D monsters are fiends. So you're going to have to run some dragon in it. And that doesn't make any sense. So this card's not going to be cheated out that way. But this card is a core card. Everyone's going to run 3 of this because it's an available level 7, and its name is very important. It's a triple D monster that's not in your extra deck. This is the only one that does that, I believe. Every other one is a double D, and yep, even Vice Typhon's a double D. So this is the only. This is most important by name. It's a triple D monster, and it does come out. You could use their Swirl Slime to bring it back. Banish Swirl Slime, special summon that monster from your hand, and then you could pop a monster, and more importantly, it's level 7, so 7 and Night Howl, 7 plus 3, 10, into your Gust King High Alexander. Yeah, it's really, it doesn't have much of a board presence. It's not going to come out for that reason, but then you could just use its ability. You could cheat it out with a Swirl Slime, 3100 and pops a card. Very good package there. Level 7 package and a triple D in name. So this is a card that you're definitely running 3 of just for all those reasons combined. Speaking of the level 3, that's a tuner. Double D Night Howl, level 3, Fiend Tuner, 300 attack, 600 defense. When this is normal summoned, you can target a double D monster in your graveyard, special summon it. Also, you cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except for fiends. That monster's attack and defense become 0. If it is destroyed, you take 1000 damage. Again, with Pendragon, you could use Swirl Slime, but then this is pretty much junk synchron right here. Except the small guy brings out the big guy. And normal summon, your double D in the graveyard, and that's automatically your level 10. Your triple D Gust High King Alexander. Very easy to do, and the deck just gets things in the graveyard pretty easily. And then you could bring your Pendragon out, pops a card on the field, then you synchro summon to your level 10. So these 2 cards work very well together. In some cases, it does. The Pendragon does get destroyed with like Void Trap Hole or something to negate its ability. And yeah, it comes back with 0/0. It's not for attacking. You could use this also with smaller monsters, but with the whole package, you're going for the high level 10 with this, with such an easy way to synchro, just one step that you go for level 10. If you have a level 4, you might as well go for that Gust King Alexander that you have if you do run that. I have 2 tuners. The other one is Double D Ghost, level 2 Fiend Tuner, 600, 300. It's kind of like a Schrodinger's cat. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target a double D monster or dark contract card in your graveyard, except for double D Ghost. Send 1 card from your deck to the graveyard with that name. If this is banished, you can target one of your banished double D monsters or dark contract cards, except for double D Ghost. Return to the graveyard. Honestly, I don't know how this card works. I just know it's a level 2 tuner, and that lets you get into different synchro combinations than your level 3 tuner. So that's what, it's not the mainstream one, but you could run one of them and play something different, like a different synchro monster. You don't have to run, your double D, triple D cards. So it gives that flexibility of being your level 8s and your level 9s and things like that. So a little different look there. And then it comes with some other abilities that are completely different than the Night Howl. Double D Vice Typhon, level 7 Fiend, 2300, 2800. When this is normal summoned, you can tribute a double D monster, special summon 1 level 7 triple D monster from your deck. During your main phase, if this card is in your graveyard because it was sent there this turn, you can fusion summon a level 8 or higher triple D fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing fusion materials listed from it from your graveyard, including this one. This is a pretty good one. It It could get discarded and then brought back as tuner material for a level with double D Night Howl. So this also works as a non-tuner material for Night Howl. Pendragon's not the only level 7. What this card looks to me, though, is it's a level 7 that can cheat out a level 7 from your deck. That's Pendragon. This could be useful for XZs whenever that comes out. Whenever you need those 2 level 7s overlaid. That's pretty big XZs right there. I'm not an expert at XZs at all. I've never played with them, but this looks like it's something that can get 2 level 7s out, and that's very attractive for XZs. Yeah, typically people don't run 3 of these, they run like a few. In the breakdown, they say 1 copy. Okay, so this is kind of like an extra level 7 that Pendragon is. So it's like your 4th level 7, typically. That's what you do with this card. Next card is called Dark Contract with the Witch. This is also a pretty core card, Continuous Trap. You can send a double D or Dark Contract card from your hand to the graveyard, target 1 card on the field, destroy it. You can use this effect once per turn. All fiends you control gain 1,000 attack during your opponent's turn only. Once per turn, during your standby phase, take 1,000 damage. So this provides some control for them. Also helps facilitate their plays. Send that monster to the graveyard, target a card on the field, destroy it. It's pretty good control on your opponent's turn to clear a monster. And then when it's your turn, it's used on offense to control the back row. This also helps dump cards into the graveyard. So you could dump your Pendragon, use Night Howl to cheat it out to make your level 10. And then there's like a buff. So this is a card that's definitely a core continuous trap card. This is the only trap card they run typically, I think. Yeah. You could run Fiendish Chain and you're not really messing up, but this is like their archetype card. Get to some of the lesser cards, the end cards, which I don't think anyone even runs these end cards. Double D Baphomet. That's crazy. Storyline Baphomet's a level 5, 1400, 1800, which makes it unplayable. This guy's a level 4, 1400, 1800. Like, Baphomet can't be level 4. I don't know. You lose a star. Alright. Once per turn, target a double D monster you control that has a level except for Baphomet. Declare a level from 1 to 8. Comes out level until the end of the turn. Also, you can't special summon monsters for the rest of the turn, except for double Ds. This is a level 4 to tune with, so let's say your Night Howl, you bring this out, you can make a level 7, sure. Then this also modulates level, so you could also make High King Alexander. So this is like a budget. It's like a budget card if you don't have enough of those level 7s. Sometimes it's hard to get R cards from a box. So maybe it could hold the deck slot warm until you get one of those level 7s out. Double D Pandora, level 5 Fiend, 1700 to 2100. When this is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, or when it's destroyed by an opponent's card effect and sent to the graveyard, and you control none, you can draw 2 cards. It depends how well this card does with the hand. It's a way to draw cards. It's a level 5 to match with the ghost, so I guess that's a way to play it. To make a level 7. I don't really see it as being useful. You can make like Black Rose Dragon, I guess, and then 3 and 5 will make 8. Level 8 synchros aren't that good, frankly. I don't know. Pandora's not too useful. Next card, Continuous Spell, Forbidden Dark Contract with the Swamp King. Continuous Spell, once per turn you can special summon a triple D monster from your hand in defense. Its effects are negated. Once per turn you can fusion summon a fiend from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as fusion materials, except for including a monster special summoned by this card with the above effect. Once per turn, you take 2,000. So you don't need this card if you have, the better ones. You have Dark Contract with Swamp King and also Dark Contract with Gate. So those cards, you don't really need it. The only way I see this being useful is that you take 2,000 damage, and it's all about life, dual skill game, triggering life point loss. This is a way to lose 2,000. We see horrendous cards like a Pointer of the Red Lotus being played just because you lose 2,000. I mean, you hit a card in the hand, which counters hand traps. That's better than this card, but this is a way to lose 2,000 life points. Double D recruits. These are all pretty bad. Trap card. If your opponent controls more monsters than you do, target any number of double D monsters and or dark contract cards in your graveyard up to the difference. Add those cards to your hand. You can only activate one double D recruits per turn. Very situational card here. Catch-up card. You don't really run catch-up cards, really. Double D reroll. Continuous trap. Dark contract cards you control cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Banish this card from your graveyard. Target 3 other banished double D monsters. Shuffle them into the deck. Bit of a refill card. Protection card. A little extra. You don't really have space to run these cards. Contract laundering. Trap card destroys many dark contract cards in your spell or trap zone. Draw those cards. Same number destroyed. Gain 1,000 life points each. This prevents you from losing life points. To lose the duel. It's a little extra though. You want to win as fast as possible. You don't really have time for a card like this. Finally, Dark Contract with Errors. Continuous trap. Once per turn, if you control a double D monster, you can negate all trap card effects on the field, other than this one for the rest of the turn, even if this one leaves the field. Once per turn, take 1,000 damage. This is kind of like anti-magic arrows, Hey Trunade type card. Again, it depends. Pendragon typically does the work of hitting back row, but it's only like one at a time. So I could see this being snuck in the future. I don't see it. It's not really in the deck right now, but let's say they need that Hey Trunade. They need that card. This is their version of it. It's continuous trap though, so you might as well run Hey Trunade. I think the continuous trap card is what hurts this one. Anti-magic arrows is a quick play. Yeah, that's what really hurts us, being a continuous trap card. So those are the double D and triple D archetypes. Pretty much the main reason why you would buy this box is to run that archetype. That's the main competitive one here. And we'll see if it sticks around in the meta. Finish up the box, I'll talk about the Cybers type. And really, there's nothing remarkable here at all. They just bring about a new monster type. And something down the line which might happen is they might have you buy through this box just to buy Cyberses if in case any of these monsters are important. My guess is that they aren't, but Konami likes to do that thing where they make you buy through past boxes, and that means more money for them. But, this is like a bottom of the barrel thing right here. This set of Cybers monsters. So only play if you really want to lose, or if you hit King of Games and you're just having fun, playing something new, but they're pretty much unplayable. Paladin of Storm Dragon, level 4, Cybers Light Ritual. This is like the Paladin of Dragon thing where they're level 4, 1900 attackers. Anyways, Cybers Ritual. Ritual summon with Signet Ritual. At the start of the damage step, if this attacks a monster, you can return that monster to the hand. Tribute this card, special summon a level 5 or higher Cybers monster from your hand or deck, but it can't activate its effects. This is not that bad. First Cybers Ritual monster, the only one that works with the Signet Ritual. Bounce monsters before the attack goes through, which is really nice. If you have the card, the Lightsworn one, check. Erin, I think? I forget her name, but similar ability. And then this could even cheat out your bigger Cybers monsters from the deck. They have like a really big beater. Suppression Collider, 2800. Yeah. It's probably the best monster they have. Launcher Commander, level 4 Cybers Earth, 1700, 1200. All other Cybers monsters you control gain 300 attack or defense. Once per turn, you contribute a Cybers monster. Target a face-up monster your opponent controls. Destroy it. This gives your guys a minor board buff. They like to swarm, so that's what it does. This becomes a 2000, which is decent with 4 stars. Slow removal ability on enemy face-up monsters. Any other deck you talk about this is kind of mediocre. You tribute one to target and destroy a face-up. Other archetypes do it better, but this is really all that this archetype has, so it's going to be important if you do place archetype in this box right now. It's not a great ability, though. Rescue Interlacer, level 3 light Cybers, 1200. During damage calculation, if your Cybers monster is attacked, quick effect, discard this card, take no battle damage from the battle. You can use this effect once per turn. Once per turn during the end phase, if this card's in the graveyard because it was discarded this turn to activate the effect, special summon it. Hand trick here. You don't protect the monster, but you take no battle damage. Yeah, it does come back onto the board, so you can't really be greedy with this one. You just want to use it right away, really. Spool code, quick play spell. When an opponent's monster declares direct attack, while you have 3 or more Cybers monsters in the graveyard, negate it. Then you can special summon for 3 Spool tokens in defense. These tokens cannot be tributed for a tribute summon. So, yeah, this could be decent if they rely on a lot of tokens. But then you can't tribute summon it, which kind of sucks. You have to use those monsters for other purposes other than tribute summoning. Yeah. It is a negate attack, though, which is decent. Cyber's Beacon. Trap card. If you took damage by battle or an opponent's card effect this turn, add a level 4 or lower Cyber's monster from your deck to your hand. Situational Tutor. You need to take damage. If this is how this deck works, taking damage, it might not have much of a lifespan in Duel Links given its quick duels. Alright, let's move on to the ends. Client. Level 3, Light Cybers, 1500. When this is normal summoned, set card is face up on the field. All Cybers monsters you control gain 500 attack and defense during your turn only. If this card would be destroyed by battle or card effect, destroy a Cybers in your hand or face up on your field instead. This is decent. 500 stat board buff. Helps populate the graveyard by protecting itself. It seems like a graveyard deck that they're working towards. Defect Compiler, level 3, Light Cybers, 1000. Once per turn, if you would take damage from an opponent's card effect, place a defect counter on this card instead, max 1. Once per turn, quick effect, you can remove a defect counter from this card, target a Cybers monster you control, it gains 800 attack until the end of the turn. Pretty bad card because it relies on taking damage from opponent card effects. You have to play like a burn deck, or if you're facing like a Luna Light or something, but they're going to kill you through battle anyways. Decent against Lava Golem, I guess, but it's not ubiquitous. You can only put 1 defect counter on this card at once. Just not worth it. Capacitor Stalker, level 5, Light Cybers, 1000. When this is normal summon, target one other Cybers monster you control. While this face-up monster is on the field, that monster gains 800 attack. If this is destroyed by card effect and sent to the graveyard, each player takes 800 damage. Yeah. There's double-sided 800 burn. I guess that's the point of this card, but then it's a level 5, 2000. Doesn't seem good. Cybers Converter, level 2, Light, 1000. If all monsters you control are Cybers monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only special summon Cybers Converter once per turn this way. When this is normal summoned, you can target one face-up monster you control. It becomes Cybers until the end of... Yeah, pretty bad. Ram card, I guess, but it requires monsters that are on the board. It would be better if it was a tuner, but they don't seem like they synchro summon. Flick Clown, level 4, Dark Cybers, 1014. If you control at least 2 other Cybers monsters and have no cards in your hand, you can pay 1,000 life points to draw a card. Yeah, it's 2 double situational abilities right here. It's not very good. Datacorn, level 1, Dark Cybers, 00. It's a little acorn flash drive. If this card is special summon 1 Datacorn Data Acorn token. You can use this effect once per turn. Okay, I guess this is 2 free tokens at least. I guess that's something. Garbage Collector. I made a big deal about this one last week because it's tossing gems away. Level 2 Cyberse Wind, 1000, 1900 defense. 1900 defense, that's okay, I guess. You can target one other Cyberse monster you control that began the duel in the main deck. Where else would they be from? Return it to the hand. If you do, special summon from your deck one Cyberse monster of the same level but a different name. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. Antelian, level 4, Earth Cyberse, 1900 attack, 600 defense. Once per turn, if this card battled the monster's battle phase, you can quick effect immediately after this effect resolves. Normal summon one Cyberse monster. If this face-up card you control leaves the field by card effect, draw one card. Okay, this one's actually decent. It's a level 4, 1900, which is about standard. You can pretty much special summon any Cyberse monster from your deck. So that could be your Collider, which is a 2800. And then it leaves the field from card effect. You draw a card. That doesn't happen a ton. It does happen sometimes, though, when they have to like Levianeer 2 things off the board. This is actually decent. Prompthorn, level 1, Dark Cyberse, 200, 400. You contribute 1 level 4 or lower Cyberse monster. Special summon any number of Cyberse normal monsters from your deck or graveyard whose total levels equal the attributed monster's level on the field, but banish them during your end phase. It lets you thin the deck, I guess, and flood the board, so that's something, I guess. Link Streamer, Light, level 4, Cyberse, 1600, 1800. When a Cyberse monster is normal or special summon to your field when this card is on the field, you can special summon a data token. Tokens, I guess, that's all I gotta say. And finally, Signet Ritual. This is the ritual spell. Can ritual summon any Cyberse ritual monster. Tribute monsters from your hand or field whose total levels equal or exceed the level of the ritual monster. If you control no monsters, you can banish this card and 1 ritual monster from your graveyard. Special summon 2 Signet tokens that are level 4s. You cannot activate this effect to turn this card sent to the graveyard. This is probably useful down the road. Only thing to get your Paladin of Storm Dragon out, and then it gets 2 level 4 tokens to recycle. So that's something, I guess. Maybe they'll make you fish through this box just to get this card. Then they had that Suppression Collider, level 8, 2800. They have some other little guys, Digitron and Protron, which are all normal monsters. And that is it with Cyberse. So they seem pretty bad right now. I'm thinking they're going to make you buy through this box again just to get some of these, but it's very possible that these are all horrible too, but it seems like the ritual spell is locked in here. And even that level 4 Antelian is decent. It's not a bad card. Alright, it's time for Doug's casual deck of the week. He explores the underlooked archetype, pretty much the topic of last podcast, Malefics. You're focusing on double Ds and triple Ds when you're buying through this box, but you'll probably have enough Malefic cards to get. As a result, you'll have those cards left over, and then you can make your own deck. So here it is, and his deck specifically doesn't have Rainbow Dragon, doesn't have Blue Eyes, so it focuses on the other monsters. So check out Doug's casual deck of the week to check out Malefics.
Hey there, this is Doug Dimmaduel with Doug's Casual Deck of the Week. This week we're going to roll with the Malefic build, because I know everybody seems to be all up on the DD, archetype. Well, I know that was a lot of fun. I do remember getting that deck, or getting some components of the deck. I remember back in the TCG, and I know that's a very powerful deck, and it's, even at this point, even with not all of the pieces, it's still a very powerful archetype. But a lot of people have kind of been putting Malefics to the wayside and not really thinking much about it, but it's a pretty effective build. Now, of course, it's kind of, it's relying too much on field spells, but the nice thing about Malefic World and Malefic Territory is that it does add a level of security and consistency to at least to the whole strategy of the deck. Now, really the way the deck is designed is to ultimately get into a Malefic Paradox Dragon with 4,000 attack and 4,000 defense. Whenever this is synchro summoned, you can select one synchro monster in either player's graveyard and special summon it. This is just a very good, 4,000 beat stick. But I also play my deck around Malefic Truth Dragon. It's a level 12 dragon with 5,000 attack, 5,000 defense. It must be special summoned by its own effect. If a Malefic monster you control is destroyed by a battle or card effect, you can pay half your life points and special summon this card from your hand or graveyard. It's just amazing. 5,000 attack, 5,000 defense. The usual skill about these Malefic monsters is that there can only be one on the field and only one can attack. But if you have your Malefic Territory on the field, which is a continuous spell, when this card is activated, first of all, you can activate one Malefic World from your deck, which is a field spell. You absolutely need a field spell. While that card is in the field zone, neither player can target a card in the field zone with effects. The Malefic Monster effect, there can only be one Malefic Monster on the field, becomes there can only be one face-up Malefic Monster on the field with the same name. And then during the battle phase, you negate the effects of face-up Malefic Monsters. That way they could all attack. So there's a few Malefic monsters, but the only one that I run here is the Stardust Dragon variety. I was lucky enough because of the extra UR stuff in the sale, got 3 copies, so you really don't have to run any additional weight in your deck. If you had the Malefic Blue Eyes, or if you had the Malefic Rainbow Dragon, you would then have to run copies of a Blue Eyes or a Rainbow Dragon in your deck. The only thing you're really taking up is extra deck space, but the only other extra deck monster you're running into is Malefic Paradox Dragon. So at the end of the day, running 3 Stardust Dragons so that you can potentially special summon 3 Malefic Stardust Dragons throughout the course of the duel is beneficial. That's the way I have it set up. Very simple extra deck. As far as how the deck is laid out, 3 Malefic Stardust Dragons, 3 Malefic Paradox Gears. As long as you have a field spell on the field, you contribute this card, special summon 1 Malefic Parallel Gear, and then add 1 Malefic monster from your deck to your hand. So basically all this is just a 1-card synchro play into your Malefic Paradox Dragon. Because what it does is you special summon your Malefic Parallel Gear on the field, which is a level 2 tuner, allowing you to synchro into a Malefic synchro monster between this card on the field and a card in your hand. So it's fantastic. I mean, it really, really works well. So what you do is you add your Malefic Stardust Dragon to your hand, go into your synchro play, boom. It's awesome. What I like to do in this deck, though, is I'll run 3 Magical Mallets, just because this deck does tend to brick quite a bit, especially because I'm running the 2 Malefic Truth Dragons in the deck. It's good to have maybe one of them in your hand, but if you just happen to start your duel with 2 of these in your hand, it's not going to help you much at all. But really the whole goal is to use your Magical Mallet to hopefully draw into a Malefic Territory and hopefully draw into a Malefic Paradox Gear. That way you're all set and you could get into your Malefic Paradox Dragon synchro play. 4,000 attack, 4,000 defense. I mean, this is just a phenomenal deck. I find it's severely overlooked. Now, of course, just a Cosmic Cyclone or a lot of disruption can really hurt this deck. This is not the most not the most complete deck. It's still very fragile, but for giant beat sticks that can just come out of nowhere, I don't know. To me, I always find that kind of deck build appealing, and this Malefic deck with Stardust Dragon, I mean, it's to me, this is a lot of fun. So yeah, that's kind of my rundown of the deck. I think that's about it. Very simple layout, very expensive because you got to go through the box a few times to get these URs. You got to get lucky enough with some of those extra UR sales to get those additional copies. So if you are, I would give this deck a shot. It's kind of fun. Not sure how well it would do on the ladder. Haven't really tried it yet, but I've done it in a PvE capacity, and it's a very satisfying deck, in a PvE setting. So that's it for my casual deck of the week. I will see you next time.
All right, thanks, Doug. And you can check out Doug's deck of the week every week on this podcast, his own Twitter account, Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck Talk. Upcoming news, Duel Quest early May. Early May is wrapping up, so we'll get Duel Quest soon. Blair Flanagan, new cards and skill, Happily Ever After. Evolved Hasselberry, new cards, Evo Price, Evil Tile El Gennaro. Dark Signer Rex Goodwin retired to the gate. Late May, Raid Duel, Buster Gindel, obtain a legendary duelist. We don't know who it is yet. Late May, Duelist Challenges, and Late May, Tour Guides Mission Bingo. That's it for the podcast this week. Thank you very much for listening. If you like this podcast, subscribe anywhere you get your podcasts. Check out the podcast and more at the website, theduelassessment.wordpress.com. Or you can email theduelassessment@gmail.com or find me on Twitter, duel_assessment, my own account at Green Rangers CCG. All right, thanks, everyone. See you next time.